Hi, everybody. Mr. Wolowitz here. I'm going to do a Google Slides presentation for you for our upcoming topic. This is going to be called Immigration and Urbanization. A couple of definitions for you to consider as we go through this PowerPoint. Push factors, things that force people out of a place or land. Pull factors, things that attract people to a place or land. Assimilate, take in information, ideas, or culture, and understand them fully. Nativism, a policy of protecting the interests of native-born or established inhabitants against those of immigrants. And chain immigrants, come to be with family or friends who had gone before to start new lives. Well, we are going to be talking about immigration and how that is a factor in the redevelopment of cities in the United States. So we have new immigrants versus what was considered old immigrants. New immigrants come from Southern and Eastern Europe during the years of about 1870s till World War I, maybe a few years after that as well. New immigrants were often unskilled, poor, Catholic, or Jewish, and planning to save some money to take back home or send back home to help their families. Either come with them to the United States in a chain migration setting, or just to help their families in their old countries. After 1900, new immigrants made up about 70% of all immigrants. Uh, Old immigrants before the 1870s, they would come to the United States between its birth and about the 1870s. And older immigrants were usually middle upper class, most likely Protestant. Didn't really need to save money, just really coming to the United States to maybe start new or establish and create a company and try to make money here. So this chart explains the difference between an old immigrants and new immigrants. As I stated, old immigrants were Protestant. They usually came from Northern or Western Europe, like Spain, England, Portugal, France, or even Scandinavian countries, and would come to the United States. They more often or not became farmers because farmland. Land was very inexpensive, especially in or around the time of the Civil War, as the United States is expanding into these large territories of land. West of the Mississippi, land was a little bit inexpensive. So more old immigrants became farmers than lived in the cities. New immigrants were usually Catholic or Jewish, being persecuted for their beliefs. They're from Southern and Eastern Europe, like Russia, Greece, Italy, countries in or around that region. Reason for they are coming to the United States, they want to escape poverty of their country. They have and escape also religious and political persecution. They're going to come to the United States. They're going to come to New York, especially Chicago, eastern cities or Midwestern cities, and they were most likely to work in factories as unskilled laborers, unskilled workers. So what push factors? Push factors, as we saw in our definitions, is something that's going to push immigrants or citizens of another country out of their country and to immigrate to the United States. So some push factors may include drought or famine, political revolutions or wars, religious persecutions, or economic struggles. In the 1880s, we had farmers had a very difficult time because of famine in Mexico, Poland, and China. So they're going to be pushed from their countries to find new land in another country, and they would settle upon the United States. In the 1840s, many wars and political revolutions, especially in China and Eastern Europe, which caused economic struggles for citizens. So they are going to try to escape that and come to the United States for a better life, the American dream. Start with nothing and build myself up into a success. Russian and Eastern European Jews faced religious persecution and fled to the United States for safety. The United States, in our First Amendment, we have the right to practice any religion freely. And so a lot of Jewish people, Catholics, would come to the United States so that they can practice their religions freely without being persecuted. Most of Europe is Protestant at the time, and for one reason or another, their ideologies clash with one another. So they are forced to leave Europe. Pull factors. Well, why are people wanting to come to the United States? So some pull factors include potential or plentiful land, employment opportunities, the idea of religious freedom and political freedom. If you were a member of an opposition political party in your home country, well, you can face persecution. So you want to flee any type of political structure that is not beneficial to you. Come to the United States where you can practice any religion, be a member of whichever political party you choose. Or simply, they want to come to the United States for a brand new life, to start over, to establish themselves in a brand new country and kind of just hit the reset button. During the Civil War, the Homestead Act and aid from the railroad companies made Western farmland very inexpensive. So coming to the United States with not a lot of money was okay, because land was going to be fairly inexpensive. Workers, or the immigrants who would come, were recruited to work on homelands, to build railroads, to dig mines, to work in factories. Mostly jobs that were available to especially the new immigrants were going to be unskilled, where you're just going to do one job over and over and over again for your entire time that you are on the job. Immigrants assimilate into society. Most immigrants stayed in the cities and lived in ethnic neighborhoods. They moved into neighborhoods where there were people who were already here from the countries that they were leaving. So assimilating to life in the United States was a little bit easier because you were surrounded by people who would share same language, same religion, same culture as you. And you could, over time, pick up what it would be like in America, what it could be like outside of your neighborhood. And by the 1890s, many cities had huge immigrant populations. And they say about 4/5, so that's 4 out of every 5, 80% of people in New York City were immigrants. Cities are starting to become overcrowded. Many immigrant families would live in multiple room homes with nothing more than just maybe a bedroom, a bathroom, and a kitchen. And that was your living space. So immigrants coming to cities, making these cities a little bit overcrowded. They're also going to face hostility. Competition for jobs and homes often fuel resentment, and religious and cultural differences cause tensions as well. The Chinese Exclusion Act in 1882 prohibited immigration by Chinese laborers, limited civil rights of immigrants in America, and forbade naturalization of Chinese residents. Later on, a ruling said that the Chinese who were already living here in the United States at the time of this Chinese Exclusion Act were considered U.S. citizens and did gain citizenship. But because of racial tensions, the fact that you were not white led to Chinese exclusion. And also the idea that, as we go back to competition for jobs, is if you were somebody who was born in the United States, lived your whole life going to work, and you're still making poverty wages, politicians and factory owners would try to sell the idea that it's immigrants' fault, why you are going to lose your job or why your pay is so low, that the immigrants coming to the United States could make as next to nothing to work. So you, who are making maybe a little bit more, are going to lose your job so that they could pay an immigrant or a new person to the United States a little bit less to save some money. So they were kind of pitting the Americans or people who were born in America versus immigrants coming to the United States. and that idea that the reason why high crime exists is because of the immigrants. The reason why you're losing your jobs is because of immigrants. And this whole idea that still exists today. If you listen to the language of some politicians today, they will still throw this fear out there for people that um, the reason why you struggle is because of immigration, and we need to cut immigration. We need to overhaul this, and that. And you can have your own opinion on that. However, the ideas that are being spread and the fear that is still being spread today is nothing new and has been going on for over 150 years. Um, so we are going to be now going into the next part of this, our unit here, the Emerging American, Modern America. We are going to be talking about immigration, urbanization, and what life was like for those living in the cities. So thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.